zucchini, I'm going to get going. I'm going to blanch it this time because I find that blanching always makes things, the vegetables a lot brighter. So it looks like this. It looks almost like dandelion, and they have a little ball right on the top. This is a flower. Okay. So, and it's slightly bitter. So I'm going to go and take a couple of them. In terms of cleaning, the more that you learn about this, the better. When I was younger, I actually followed my mom to go to the grocery store all the time. And then after a while, because I got exposed to so many different types of vegetables, I was not afraid to use and try them. Because I got curious instead of like feeling like, oh, it's scary. I don't even know what this is. I actually enjoy trying new things. So this is organic broccolini. They're usually very expensive, but saw it was on sale, so I thought we'd go and try it. Okay, broccolini, it looks literally broccoli, but a longer stem. It's a lot more tender. Okay, so I'm going to try all those. Drop some keep this back. This one here. Okay, so while in terms of cleaning, it's really simple. All I need to do is just cut off the end a little bit. Okay. Put it on an angle, and what happens is it exposes the fresh part of the bottom, and it's no longer really rough tasting. And just think when you're cooking, the size. Okay? Do I want it so it's a certain size on the plate? If it's bigger than a plate, obviously I want to make it so it fits on the plate. Okay? If it looks like it's too thick and this one's too thin, then I'm going to go and make sure that I cut it in half. Okay? Yeah, it's called peas. Okay, broccolini is like broccoli, but then you add an I to it. Yeah, just like broccoli, but then you add an I in there. Oh, sorry, an I to it. Okay, so these two, yeah, broccolini, like little baby broccoli. Okay. So in it goes, and you want to time everything so that it's going to be good. So it will be a little bit crowded on Wednesday. Okay, just also remind yourself that it is a Wednesday. Okay, so it's going to be tight. The other thing I'm going to do is I'll just put it right here. It's a lot faster. So while that happens, I'm going to go and get my pork ready. So same thing, everyone kind of remembered when you guys were making, for some of you who just went right now, how to do the breaded pork. What I did with the breaded pork was pretty tasty, right? That one? Okay. Do you guys still do some of it at home? Some of you do. Delicious. Okay. Great. So you're going to go and do that. Escalope is the same way. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to take a little bit of, once again, do some anger management. Put it out. And you're going to go and make it so it's 1.5 times bigger than what it is. Okay, so one, it makes it so that it cooks faster. Two, it also helps it so that when you guys are pounding, it's more tender. Okay, and it also makes the people perceive it as bigger. So sometimes if you see, a lot of times people do this, it's like a brick. You think that it's a lot bigger, but it really is small. Okay, it's just the way that they cut it, the way that they mold it. So I'm going to use I have to use a big pot. I don't want So you're going to go and pound it, and now, no, you're not whacking it, but you're just going to pound it a little bit, and you're just going to go and extend the size of it by 1.5 times bigger. See? Naturally, this is a lot bigger than the other ones already. Okay? Yeah, you don't need the mallet. You can just use the bottom of the pot, something heavy. So chicken burgers. They're totally half a burger and then they pound it out. Okay. So notice that a lot of times you guys are like, I'm just waiting for the water to boil. Why is it taking so long? Just put a lid on it. Okay? It's like no time at all. Alright, so you guys gotta not work harder but work smarter. Okay? So you gotta put a lid on it, maximize the heat, and just let it do its thing. Okay, this is done. And because I actually put last time around. Alright. Okay? You're gonna go and put some ice in here and cold water. So Dawson's gonna get me some ice. You do all the stuff. And it goes ice water. I'm going to go blanch, and because they're two different sets, I'm going to blanch at two different. Ooh, there goes a leaf. Nice. Okay. It goes. You want it to be a brighter color, so I'll take a look at the difference between the two. The other thing, once you take it out, you don't leave it in the water for that long. All vegetables have water-soluble vitamins, and if you leave it long enough, it washes away, and you don't consume it anymore. It's just in the water that you're throwing away. So always make it so that you are taking the time to think when you're cooking nutritiously too. So anything that you're doing, you want to benefit and maximize it. Okay? Same thing as why I would just cook it slightly instead of all the way. It's because I want to maximize the color. I don't want to take away the color. All right? Always enhance, not take away. So once I'm done, this bright color, I can touch it. Okay, so I want you to see the difference between the two right now. There's a huge difference. Okay? You can't see it over there, but you can see it over here. So Josh, just take a look over here.
Oh, I see.
Ah, yeah, you see. You're right here. Okay? It's super bright, and I'll put it in again. So do it both. It won't take that long, all right? And leave it in here until it's cold. There's no point of shocking anything if it's when I take it out it's still warm. Then what's the point? So take it until it's cold. And my potato, it's starting to simmer, which is perfect. And I'm going to turn it down low and let it keep poaching. Okay, it's not going to take that long.
Oh yeah, right.
So it's going to be a bright green. And then I'm going to, nice dark green. I'm going to touch the side a little bit. And I want it to be slightly giving. Okay, you don't want it to be fully done because then you lose all the nutrients. You want the fiber too. You overcook it, you lose the fiber. And the fiber is what helps you so that it makes you keep you full. And also your fiber is what actually helps you to have a better body, to say. Okay. Yep, like stars. More dark greens that you eat has a lot more iron in it, a lot more flavor. Okay, so once these are done, I'm going to take it off. Right? So it's a bright green. So if you remember how it used to look like, the color, and now it is, it's very different. So I'm just going to go and take this. I'm going to just go and lay it out so that it dries. Because if I keep the water, it's just not going to taste very good. Okay, roll it up. Don't need it anymore. Let it be right here. We're good to go. Okay. I'm going to take my fork now, and this is the part where you're going to have to make sure. If you don't have all your mise en place, I guarantee you're not going to do all of this one. Your mise en place has to be ready, so you have your chicken stock. Okay, I'm going to go and dilute with a little bit of water. Chicken stock, yeah. Okay, equal parts. Equal parts. So right now you have amounts on there. I would highly suggest you do not go by the amount anymore. I'm going to actually get you to cross all the ingredients off, and I want you to focus on when I do it here. Because that one is a guide, but often at times I switch things up, alright? So the reason why, you might think, oh, that's kind of mean, or why did you put down the amounts anyway? It's because I want you to learn to cook without amounts. So you don't have to cook with, oh, it's a little bit shy of 125. It really doesn't matter. Okay? So, and I got some lemon. Remember, it's a lemon white wine, so I'm going to have it sour. Okay? So I have some white wine right here. It's equal parts white wine and chicken stock. Alright? If you don't like the wine, add more chicken stock. The wine actually is salty and can be a little bitter. So if you don't like that, okay, just watch also how much salt you're going to put in too. Because it will turn salty due to the wine. Alright? So keep that in mind whenever you're cooking with cooking wine. The other thing is I'm going to have my lemon ready to go. Yeah, the wine, cooking wine is salty. Okay? And I basically just look at the amount I have here. Okay? It's like a shy of a third of a ramekin or so. Okay? So that's basically how much I want you guys to do for one portion. Okay. Alright? Okay? I did 2 knobs of butter. Okay? And I may not even use it all. So as you are looking at the amounts, start taking a look at what I'm doing right here. Okay? Once I got that going, I'm going to do my salt and pepper. Okay? Just very little, not too little, but I want it to be seasoned, but I am taking into my mind that I still have salt from my potatoes, salt I'm going to put in here, and also salt from the wine. So I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm going to do a little bit of pepper. Okay? And at this point in time, okay, 2 things will happen. You're going to actually add flour, and you're going to dredge it in flour. Okay? But because some people are gluten-free, I'm going to do it with cornstarch, and that's possible too, just using cornstarch. Okay? So can Joshua use some cornstarch? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So then all you do, usually I'll have a pan ready to go and dredge it. Yeah. You're going to go and just put it on. Okay? Just a little bit. Okay? You can do it this way. You don't need a lot. Okay? And what that does is that later on you'll see it's going to help me thicken the sauce. Okay? So just put it a little bit. Dredge it.
So this is cornstarch for flour?
Yeah, so I'm using cornstarch because some people are gluten-free. They need to be gluten allergies. Well, if you're going to be doing it, flour actually works really well. Okay? So either or works. I'm just using an alternative. Okay? So that one thing doesn't work, you use the other. Okay, I'm going to go and put some on both sides. And all it does right here is that it doesn't seem like it's going to do anything, but it will. Because you're going to be needing it for when you pan fry. So I'm going to heat this up. Okay, general rule once again, season the pan. Heat up the pan first, feel the intense heat, then add the oil, feel the fact that it's heated up. The oil is ready when you move it. It's not moving slowly, it's moving like water. Then you go and pan fry it. Okay? Now I'm leaving this here and you'll see why. So everything I have is ready to go. I'm going to even see if my potatoes are ready to go. Almost. Gonna heat this up. Gonna put a little bit of olive oil in there. Just 2 rounds, so you're not gonna need a lot. Move it around. It's moving quite slow, so that means that the oil's not ready yet. Move it around. Not done yet. Okay. So make sure that when you're moving it around, it actually is moving quite fast. Okay. Okay, moving quite fast now. I'm going to put it in. The other thing that it should do is sizzle. So once I put it in, it's sizzling. It's pretty thin, so I don't want you to overcook this. It should be juicy. Okay, so keep that key is that making sure that these brown bits are good. The ones that turns black, they're not. So make sure that you pick your color, you can actually have the brown bits, but not. It's not whether it's actually burnt. Okay, so control your heat that way. Really fast. Now inside is still kind of raw. Okay, so I'm actually going to be cooking it once more in here. Once I'm done with this, sorry. Once I'm done, I turn this off a little bit because if I added my wine at this point in time, this thing is going to go like igniting fire. So I'm going to actually turn this off. Okay? So that there's no ability. So then while that happens, I'm going to go also cut some slices of lemon in here. Okay? So, because it's actually the lemon slices you're going to leave in. Very different from when it's like not juice. So make sure that there's no seeds. Once it's cooled down, I'm going to go and start to take my pan or my rubber spatula, either one that you want to use. So with that, right? Okay, so what this is doing is I'm going to scrape all the bottom stuff off. This is all the goods, okay? And now I'm going to turn this back on, turn it on low. And I'm going to scrape all this good stuff, okay? This is called deglazing. So D-E, and it's like glaze, right? Deglazing. So this is my way of actually cleaning. Is also going to give lots of flavor. As long as it's not burnt, you want this to happen. So make sure you don't do this if it's burnt. Do you guys get it? If it's burnt, do not do this step. Actually use a new pan instead. Okay, so watch your control of your heat. You want the good stuff in here. I'm going to plug off all the alcohol in here. No booze. And then I'm just going to add my chicken stock. Okay? And I'm going to let it kind of do its thing. I'm going to once again, remember this balsamico, I'm just going to add a little bit just for a little bit of sourness. Okay? Okay, not too much, just doing like a couple drops. Alright? So it's looking a little darker. Smells pretty good. Smell the alcohol. Oh, I smell the alcohol. It smells really good. But yeah. Now, I'm actually waiting for doing the lemon near the end. One is fresher, and two, the white part of this is actually bitter. So if I put it in too long, you will have a bitter taste. And I'm not sure if you had that whenever you put it in your tea. It will become a bitter taste. Okay? So I'm going to put this. It's almost done. Oh, yes. So I'm letting this reduce. All right. Once it's almost reduced and I taste it, but that's the main part, is that you make sure you taste it. If it tastes like it's already full flavor, just continue on the next step. If it looks like it needs a little bit more reducing or doesn't have enough flavor, then that means, and obviously there's already had some salt in there, then you will just keep reducing. So I think that it needs a little bit more reducing. So I'm going to let it do its thing. Okay. While that happens, I'm going to go and, it's almost done, so I'm going to saute all the green. Okay. And I'm going to take a little bit of my butter and olive oil. And all I'm going to do is at a low heat, I'm going to turn this to a simmer, and I'm just going to heat up my greens. Now my greens, I want it to stay green, so I don't want to make sure that I get to the point where it's too hot. I just want it to, when I feel it, is not feeling cold. When I touch the green, it's going to feel hot. Once it reduces, and I taste this again, better. I'm going to put my my lemons in. Okay, squeeze a little bit of juice. Okay, kind of squish it a little. All right, and I'm gonna put my pork with my starch that's coated in starch back in and heating it up. Do not overcook your pork at this point in time. If you cook your pork, it will taste nasty. So just cook it until it's just slightly done. Okay? At this point in time, I see that it's a little creamy because of the flip it over to the other side. Okay? My potatoes are done, so now I'm learning to multitask all three things at the same time. Okay? It's still stayed intact, and it's actually fully cooked. Okay? So I flip this over. Splash myself. Gonna add some butter right into it. Okay? Add some seasoning. Okay, this is done. So what I'm gonna do is, can I get a thing, please? My sauce isn't. So that's not good. So what I want to do is I'm going to take this out before it overcooks. Okay. And I'm going to go in. It is quite saucy for this one. I'm going to add a knob of butter. Okay. Right. And I want to just swirl it in. No, you're going to add butter regardless. But once it gets to the point where it looks like it's liquidy, add the butter and then turn off the heat. Because the butter actually makes it slightly thicker and creamier. Okay? Once that's happened, I make sure I toss this up. See, it's not sizzling or anything. All I want to do is just heat it up. Okay? So it's on low. You don't always have to cook everything on high. That's the thing that you guys got to realize. Often a lot of people just cook things on high because it's like, oh, that's the only thing. It goes all the way down to simmer. And the majority of the time, when you cook, it actually is supposed to cook at low heat sometimes. And take some Italian parsley, chop it up roughly. Okay, Italians usually like it so it's not chopped up too much. Okay, add a little bit of it in here, and you want to add it last minute just before you serve. I'm going to add a little bit into my potatoes. Okay, and same thing. Parsley is a digestive. It actually helps with bloating. It helps with detox. It's actually really good. So put it in with everything. It's really good. Okay, and it looks good too. So I'm just trying to gently toss my potatoes so that it doesn't overdo it. Okay, I'm gonna taste this one more time. See, now it's a nice sauce. Okay, it should have a sauce. A lot of times people over-reduce it and there's no sauce. I need to see that there's sauce spreading onto the plate. All right? Yeah. Ooh, lemony. I'm going to put this right on. Now remember, you don't have to plate it all. Okay, this is enough for 2 cents. You're going to have to 2 pieces of 4. I just did 4 so that you guys can have some. Okay. So the potatoes are still intact, but when I touch it or I poke it, it kind of comes apart. Okay. All right. I'm gonna put some broccolini and the rapini. Okay. Really simple plating this time. You can do whatever you want. The rapini goes really well with this dish. Okay? You're going to take some of your pork, coat it in. Okay? It should coat in. And instead of pouring the sauce like this, you should pour the sauce like this. Okay? It should still flow to the side. Okay? And that's what I'm looking for. It's mainly your sauce. A lot of people over-reduce it. If you over-reduce it, what can you do to fix it before you bring it up? Add a little bit of water. Yeah. Anything else? You what? Sorry? Yeah, you just reduce it. Okay. There you go. Sorry for the noise. Potatoes onto this side. Alright. Okay. And then some other things. Now you're going to go and taste it. So grab a fork, a knife, whatever it is that you want. But if you're going to eat a meat, you have to eat part of the vegetable. Alright? I'll be watching you.
Oh, we should have gotten knives. Oh, it's cool. I don't really care if it's him. Oh.
You have to, oh, okay, guys, over here. And if you guys are going to eat meat, you have to eat veg. I should be saying no veg
No veg.
at the end.
Okay, I like
Chris.
potatoes aren't great. Maybe next time.
People are starch, not veg. Sorry.
Vegetable starch. Go on.
Sorry.
Why are you
Nick.
Oh, it doesn't bother me.
Alright. Looks like everyone's like waiting. Okay? So when you're eating it, if it's like pink, it is okay. But at the same time, it shouldn't be fully like overcooked, okay? Okay. Go ahead. It's a long line.
Could you put the other one?
Wait, is nothing like super bitter?
Yeah, it is. We're going next time.
Like really?
No.
So everything's supposed to go in all at once, right?
I want hard potatoes.
It is a lemon dish, let's see. You gotta remember that. It is it's very easy.
Avocados and hot sauce.
So different from what you guys are expecting, do expect that it is a lemony dish. It is supposed to be sour. Okay? Very different type. So when you're eating, and just to keep in mind, so what I'm trying to do with you guys is that I am introducing you to for like very classical Italian cooking, but if you feel like it's a bit too much, you have the liberty of changing it up a little. Okay?
We're ready.